A shocking fraud case has emerged from New York, where a 23-year-old Indian national, Tushar Sharma, has been arrested in connection with a high-value scam. Ladies and gentlemen, what began as a simple phone call, it quickly turned into a carefully planned operation involving fear, deception, and loss of over $200,000. Authorities say that the case highlights a growing pattern of scams that rely not on force but on psychological pressure. According to the New York State Police, Sharma was taken into custody in Chenango County and is facing multiple felony charges, including conspiracy, in fact, scheme to defraud. Well, the investigation began after victim reported being manipulated into handling over a large amount of money under false conditions, believing that they were dealing with the law enforcement authority. The scam, it reportedly started with a phone call. Yes, a phone call from somebody claiming to be associated with the Department of Homeland Security. Well, the caller told the victim that there was an active arrest warrant against them, linked to serious crimes such as money laundering and narcotics trafficking. Can you imagine that? Faced with alarming claims, the victims were pressurized into acting quickly without verifying the information or informing anybody in their family. According to the caller's instruction, the victims, they withdrew large sum of cash, packaged it as directed, and delivered it to the designated location, and that was in a Brain Bridge area. Following the caller's instruction, the victim, they withdrew large sum of cash, packed it as directed, and delivered it to a destination in Brain Bridge area. The process, it was repeated multiple times with increasing urgency and secrecy. The victim were told not to speak to anyone, reinforcing the sense of fear and isolation that scammers often rely on just to maintain their control. On what would have been the third and possibly the largest transactions of his life, the victim was instructed to meet an individual posing as a law enforcement officer to hand over additional funds. However, by this time, authorities had become aware of the situation and they were monitoring the exchange. As soon as the money was handed over, law enforcement intervened and arrested Tushar Sharma at the crime scene. The stolen money, it was successfully recovered. Officials emphasized that this particular case is part of a broader trend involving fake warrant scam, where fraudsters, they kind of act like officers just to intimidate the victims into making the immediate payments. Law enforcement agencies have repeatedly warned that legitimate authorities, they will never ever demand money over the phone or instruct individuals to settle the legal matters through cash payment. After his arrest, Sharma was seized and taken to the local jail before being released under certain conditions. Well, he has been ordered to remain within New York and is scheduled to appear in the court in Bainbridge, where this case will proceed. You know, this particular incident, it serves as a stark reminder of how effective these scams, they really can be when fear is being used as a tool. Even well-informed individuals, they can fall victims when faced with urgent threats and official-sounding claims. Authorities continue to urge public to verify such calls independently and report any suspicious activity immediately as investigations into similar schemes remain ongoing.